How's it going, Biathlon fans? The Biathlon season has started. So today I'm going to give a quick overview of this new game, Biathlon Pool, talk about the rules, talk about how to play, and maybe even give you some tips as to how to be successful this season. Now, I do want to clarify that I have absolutely no affiliation to this website. I've talked to the creator of this website, and he seems like a really cool guy. He's been very responsive, and he's even asked me for a little bit of feedback on the website, so hopefully in the future we can make things even better. So when you first come to the website, the first thing you see is you gotta log in and create a username. So that's what I am going to do. Now, when you first log in, you're gonna see this page, and this goes over pretty much all the rules. Basically, pool, that's like your league. That's the game you're playing. Now, there is a public pool where everyone who signs up for the website will play, but as you probably saw on my Twitter and Instagram, I do have a pool within this game, and the winner of that pool is going to win a signed bib by USA's Sean Doherty. But then there's also private pools. So if you have some friends or teammates and you want to have your own private game to see who's the best, you can also easily create your own private pool. Okay, so on to scoring. It all comes down to IBU points. And now, this list is a little outdated because the IBU does have new points system this year. So first place is 90, second place is 75, and then it rolls down, and then after you get to seventh place, it's like normal. So basically what the new point system is telling us is that it's way more profitable to be in the top 6 than it was in the past. So it really favors those athletes who are earning flower ceremony positions. And that point total is multiplied by this multiplier depending on what race it is. Basically, you'll double your points if you pick a mass start or individual winner, whereas the sprint and pursuit aren't as profitable just because there's way more of them. At the end of the season, all your points are added up, and the winner of my pool gets a signed race bib by Sean Doherty. So the next tab that you have is your team, and this is where you pick the athletes, and this is the chunk of the gameplay. So everyone's given $1,500 in-game dollars where you can buy players and assign them to a specific race. So for example, for the men's 10K sprint that's coming up this Saturday, I'm going to pick some players who I think are going to perform well. Now at first, it's going to be really tempting to just want to go down the top of the list, but as you can see, you quickly run out of money. If you pick Quinton Fielmaye, you're not going to have any money for Johannes Tingesbo, Ligrid, Samuelson, Jacqueline, any of these top players. And quite honestly, I really like this feature because it really shakes things up. You can't just pick the top 3 people in the overall and that be your team. It really forces you to come down the line a little bit and pick some other athletes who you think are going to do well that don't cost as much money. As you can see by picking just Fielmaye and Ponsaloma, the next best player I can pick is way down here. But here's the really crazy thing is I think there's people on this list that are highly underrated. For example, Nicholas Hartweg. He's only worth 60 in-game dollars, but he came in second in the first race of the season. So on this list, he's not as valuable as anyone in the top 10, but he's currently ranked second overall. And once you have your team selected, you then have to come over here to the next race and assign the team. And once your team is assigned, as you can see, these are your 3 picks for that day. Now let's say you hear, for example, that Fielmaye got sick and he can't race. You can easily just unassign this team to that race. You can go through, kick him off your team, and pick someone else, and boom, there's your team, and then make sure you reassign. Now here's something to remember. You have to have your team selected within an hour prior to the race start. Now what happens if you accidentally forget to assign your team? Whatever players you have listed currently will just automatically fill in. So it's always good to have a few athletes in your roster at all times, so that way if you forget to assign, at least you'll have some athletes that are competing. Now this is one of the coolest features actually that I like about this game is you can go through and you can change things up on a race to race basis, or you can just assign some athletes and then just let the season play out. It's really as involved as you want it to be. So if you really have no idea who to pick, I did just add a new perk to my $5 Patreon tier. I'm going to be disclosing my fantasy picks for each race. So not only will you be entitled to all of these other perks, but now you will also be getting my daily fantasy picks for each race. Now, as an added bonus for watching this video, I'm going to highlight some of the athletes who I think are severely underrated on this list. Number 1, Lisa Vitozzi. She should be up in the top 10. I think she's going to be competing for top 10. She did not have a super stellar season last year, but we already saw that she has been on the podium, and that's a podium performance for a very small amount of your budget. Now, a guy that I think is severely underrated this year is actually going to be Eric Perrault from France. Eric had a really good summer, and in the first season opening races, he performed very well against his countrymen, including Fabien Cloud, Emilien Jacqueline. So the fact that he's only worth $60, I think that's going to be an awesome pick for someone who's trying to fill out their last spot on their team. Two other underrated picks that I see here are Lou Jean-Monod and Ragnhild Femsteinvik. These two went head-to-head at the end of the season last year for the IBU Cup, and as you know, Jean-Monod won it all, but for only 110 and 107 in-game dollars, I expect these two to be fighting closer to the top 10, top 15. So I think those are two great picks if you're looking to fill out your team. And then the final underrated player on this list, I'm going to have to go with Campbell Wright. I think Campbell had a really good season last year. His first season consistently on the World Cup, did qualify for the Olympics, and having worked with Campbell this season, I think he and Sean Doherty, for that matter, are going to have really good seasons, and they're going to be worth way more than these 105 and 93 in-game dollars. So there you go, Biathlon Pool, it's free to play, and it's not too late to play. There's 68 races this season, and we've only completed 2. So if you can get in there, pick some teams, and start earning some points, you're going to start moving your way up the leaderboard very quickly. All right, until next time, Biathlon fans, we'll see you.